Welcome to Icons Forever, where Thomas honors the unforgettable lives of extraordinary people who continue to live on through their legacy. This channel celebrates beloved figures from film, music, sports, and culture, whose talent, passion, and impact touched millions. Join us as we remember their stories, reflect on their influence, and keep their memory alive for generations ahead. Dylan Carter introduced himself to audiences with a quiet confidence and a voice that immediately stood out. During his blind audition on The Voice, he expressed a simple wish that Reba McEntire might turn her chair. In a rare and unforgettable moment, all four coaches turned, including Reba McEntire, John Legend, Niall Horan, and Gwen Stefani. The moment felt overwhelming and emotional, marking a turning point in his journey as a performer. A story rooted in emotion. For Dylan, music carried deep personal meaning rather than just performance value. Growing up in South Carolina, he described a life that was mostly private and grounded, which made stepping onto such a large stage especially significant. He often spoke about the influence of his late mother, whose belief in his talent stayed with him throughout his life. One of his most emotional performances came from a song tied to her memory, delivered with raw sincerity and care, determination, and growth. His time on the show reflected persistence and dedication. After previous setbacks, he continued pursuing his dream until he finally earned his place on stage. His rare four-chair turn highlighted both his talent and the emotional connection he created through music. Choosing Reba McEntire as his coach, he continued to develop as an artist during his time in the competition, leaving a strong impression on viewers and fellow performers alike. A lasting impression. Dylan Carter's journey is remembered for its honesty, emotional depth, and human connection. His performances resonated with audiences not just for technical skill, but for the sincerity behind them. His story continues to reflect how music can carry personal history, emotion, and meaning in a way that stays with people long after the moment has passed. Danielle Spencer, born June 24th, 1965, became widely known as a young actress who grew up in the public eye. From an early age, she showed a natural ease in front of the camera, which eventually led her into television and helped her become a familiar name to audiences across the United States. Television career. She is best remembered for her role on the classic sitcom What's Happening, where she brought warmth, humor, and a relatable charm to the screen. Her performance felt natural and grounded, helping make her character a comforting presence in a show that remains a nostalgic favorite for many viewers. Personal strength. Outside of acting, Spencer's life reflected resilience and quiet determination. She faced personal and health challenges over the years, yet remained known for handling them with dignity. Those who followed her journey often spoke about her steady strength and the grace with which she approached difficult moments. Legacy and remembrance. Danielle Spencer passed away at the age of 60 due to complications from gastric cancer. She is remembered not only for her role in a beloved television series, but also for the warmth she brought to audiences. Her work continues to live on through reruns and memories, preserving her place in television history as a gentle and enduring presence. Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa was born on September 27, 1957, in Tokyo, Japan, and grew up across different countries and cultures. This international upbringing helped shape his worldview and later influenced the depth and range he brought to his acting career. Career breakthrough. He became widely recognized for his role in Mortal Kombat, where he portrayed the powerful sorcerer Shang Tsung. His controlled intensity and striking screen presence turned the character into one of the most memorable figures in action and fantasy cinema. Range and versatility. Beyond this iconic role, Tagawa built a diverse career across film, television, and voice acting. He often portrayed complex figures such as leaders, warriors, and antagonists, bringing emotional depth and dignity to each performance. His work bridged Eastern and Western productions, making him a recognizable and respected international actor. Legacy Tagawa is remembered for his quiet power and unmistakable presence on screen. His performances continue to resonate with audiences, leaving behind a legacy defined by strength, nuance, and a lasting contribution to global cinema. Alan Osmond passed away at the age of 76 after living nearly 4 decades with multiple sclerosis. As the eldest member of the Osmonds, he played a key role in shaping the group's success during the 1970s. Their music reached a wide audience and became part of a lasting pop culture legacy. While the fame brought recognition, Alan was often seen as someone who valued family, stability, and meaning behind the work more than spotlight itself. Strength through adversity. For almost 40 years, he lived with a progressive illness that gradually changed his physical abilities. Despite this, he remained steady in mindset and approach to life. Rather than focusing on limitation, he adapted with patience and acceptance, finding strength in quieter ways. Over time, he developed a deeper sense of resilience and understanding, showing that hardship can reshape a person without taking away their inner purpose or dignity. Legacy and impact. Alan continued to contribute in ways he could, supporting others with sincerity and presence, even when life became more limited. His journey is remembered not just through music, but through the values he represented: family, kindness, and perseverance. His story leaves behind a reminder that a meaningful life is built through connection, resilience, and the way we treat others along the way. Michael Jordan is often described as more than a basketball player. He became a cultural force who reshaped the National Basketball Association into a global phenomenon. With 6 championships, 5 MVP awards, and over 32,000 career points, his achievements on paper already place him among the greatest athletes in history. But numbers alone cannot explain his impact. His style of play, marked by explosive athleticism, unmatched competitiveness, and emotional intensity, changed how basketball was understood and experienced worldwide. The Air Jordan identity grew beyond sport, becoming a symbol of ambition, discipline, and excellence. Yet behind this towering legacy lies a more complex human story. Jordan's journey was not a straight path of victory, but a long series of challenges, losses, and personal sacrifices that shaped the man behind the myth. To understand his greatness fully, one must look beyond the highlights and explore the emotional and psychological cost of living at the very top. Early life, discipline, pressure, and first rejections. Michael Jordan was born in 1963 in Wilmington, North Carolina, into a household built on structure, discipline, and hard work. His father worked long hours, while his mother emphasized responsibility and accountability. These early lessons shaped his mindset, teaching him that nothing in life would be given freely. As a child, Jordan also experienced competition within his own family, especially with his older brother, which created an early sense of striving to prove himself. That feeling of always being slightly behind became a driving force in his personality. However, his early athletic journey was not smooth. In high school, he faced one of his first major setbacks when he was not selected for the varsity basketball team. This moment deeply affected him, forcing him to confront rejection and self-doubt for the first time in a meaningful way. Instead of giving up, he used it as fuel, beginning a pattern of turning disappointment into motivation that would define his entire career. College years, pressure, growth, and the birth of confidence. Jordan's time at the University of North Carolina marked a critical transformation in his life. Entering college basketball, he was no longer just a talented teenager, but a young athlete surrounded by elite competition. The environment demanded patience, discipline, and trust in structured systems rather than individual expression. Initially, this adjustment was difficult for him. He struggled with being just one part of a larger team rather than the central focus. However, under the guidance of experienced coaching and consistent training, he began to develop both skill and emotional maturity. The defining moment of his college career came during the 1982 National Championship game, where he hit a decisive late shot that secured victory for his team. That single moment became symbolic of his emerging identity, a player who could deliver under pressure. It also marked the beginning of his reputation as someone who thrived in critical moments, setting the stage for his entry into professional basketball. Entry into the NBA, building a legacy in Chicago. When Jordan entered the NBA in 1984, as a member of the Chicago Bulls, expectations were high, but his impact exceeded them quickly. He immediately became one of the league's most exciting players, known for his scoring ability, defensive intensity, and athletic creativity. However, early success did not translate into immediate championships. The Bulls faced repeated playoff losses, particularly against physically dominant teams like the Detroit Pistons. These defeats tested Jordan's patience and resilience. Instead of breaking him, they pushed him into a phase of intense physical and mental development. He trained harder, refined his skills, and developed a more complete game. This period shaped him into not just a scorer, but a leader capable of carrying an entire franchise. It also marked the beginning of a mindset shift. Winning was no longer a goal, but an expectation he demanded from himself. Championship era, dominance, and global fame. The early 1990s marked the peak of Jordan's basketball career. Leading the Chicago Bulls, he secured 6 NBA championships and established one of the most dominant dynasties in sports history. His performances in the NBA Finals became legendary, combining scoring brilliance with defensive control and leadership under pressure. Alongside his on-court success, his influence expanded into global culture through the rise of the Air Jordan brand. What began as a basketball shoe evolved into a worldwide fashion and lifestyle phenomenon, generating massive revenue and redefining athlete marketing. Jordan was no longer just a sports figure. He had become a global symbol of excellence. However, this level of success came with immense pressure. Every season demanded perfection, and every failure was magnified. Behind the celebration, the physical and emotional toll of maintaining dominance began to accumulate, even if it was not immediately visible to the public. Retirement, loss, and identity crisis. In 1993, at the height of his career, Jordan made the shocking decision to retire from basketball. While the public speculated about motivations, the reality was deeply personal. The sudden death of his father had a profound emotional impact on him, creating a sense of emptiness that basketball could no longer fill. Seeking distance from the game, he briefly pursued professional baseball, a decision that reflected both grief and the search for meaning outside basketball. This period revealed a different side of Jordan, one less defined by competition and more by vulnerability. Eventually, he returned to the NBA, but his comeback was shaped by a changed perspective. He was no longer playing purely for dominance, but also for personal healing and connection to memory. His return led to another championship run, proving that even after loss, he could still reach extraordinary levels of performance. Personal life, family, strain, and responsibility. Beyond basketball, Jordan's personal life carried its own challenges. His marriage to Juanita Vanoy brought stability during parts of his career, and together they raised 3 children. However, the demands of global fame created distance within the family. Long travel schedules, constant media attention, and business responsibilities made it difficult to maintain balance between professional and personal life. Over time, this strain contributed to the breakdown of the marriage. Their eventual divorce was widely publicized, but behind the headlines was a quieter reality of two people struggling to reconcile different worlds. Jordan later acknowledged that success often came at the expense of presence at home. Despite separation, both parents worked to maintain stability for their children, reflecting a shared commitment beyond personal differences. Later years, wealth, reflection, and perspective. In his post-playing career, Jordan transitioned into business, ownership, and long-term investments. His financial success, particularly through the Jordan brand, made him one of the wealthiest athletes in history. However, his focus gradually shifted away from public visibility toward privacy and personal balance. He invested in properties designed for seclusion and maintained a lifestyle centered on control and calm rather than spectacle. Physically, age brought natural limitations, and he adapted by focusing on health and moderation. Emotionally, he reflected more on loss, including the deaths of close figures in his life and the evolving nature of relationships. These experiences reshaped his understanding of success, shifting it from external achievement to internal stability and family connection. Legacy. Beyond records and recognition, Michael Jordan's legacy is not defined solely by championships or statistics, but by transformation. He changed how basketball is played, marketed, and perceived across the world. He inspired generations of athletes to pursue excellence with intensity and discipline. Yet his story also reveals the hidden cost of greatness, the sacrifices in personal life, the emotional weight of loss, and the constant pressure of expectation. Today, his influence extends far beyond sport, living in culture, business, and global identity. What makes his journey powerful is not only what he achieved, but what he endured while achieving it. His life demonstrates that greatness is not simply about rising to the top, but about what it takes to remain there and what it costs to stay.